Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Monday means it's Modern Monday, and we have a super spicy mashup list to look at today. This deck is kind of just a deck that tries to get free wins in multiple different ways. It combines some of the things from our Against the Odds Gideon tribal deck with another super sweet newish card in Madcap Experiment to just put this weird pressure on the opponent's deck that makes it really hard for them to kill us, because we have a lot of things that make it so we can't lose the game, and then in the meantime we're disrupting them, killing their stuff, and eventually winning with a small number of creatures or with our planeswalkers. So I'm calling this one Madcap Gideon. It comes to us from Andrew Chandler, who took it to a top 8 finish at our recent SCG Modern IQ, so congrats to Andrew on their finish with the deck. A quick reminder before we break down Madcap Gideons for Modern: if you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So Madcap Gideons, as I mentioned, kind of has two different free win plans. The first of these is Madcap Experiment. So Madcap Experiment, you pay 4 mana, you reveal a bunch of cards, you get the first artifact that you reveal. Normally you take a ton of damage potentially because you take it equal to the number of cards you revealed. However, in our deck, we only have one artifact, we only have one hit, and thanks to a weird quirk of the rules, if we had a Platinum Empyrean off of Madcap Experiment, we actually don't take any damage because the Platinum Empyrean is on the battlefield when Madcap Experiment finishes resolving, and Platinum Empyrean makes it so our life total can't change, so we just don't take any damage from Madcap Experiment. Platinum Empyrean, on the other hand, is good in a couple of ways. First, it's just really big. It's an 8/8, which means if the opponent has a board full of Goblin Guides and Burning Tree Emissaries and even Tarmogoyfs, Platinum Empyrean can just kind of beat down and win the game in a few swings. Although, kind of the main idea in our deck is we just have it sit out on the battlefield, and until our opponent finds a way to remove our 8/8, they just can't win the game because our life total can't change. Yes, maybe they're playing Mill or some random fringe deck and that can get around it, but for the most part, having it so your life total can't change is very close to just you can't lose the game, your opponent can't win the game. So we put this pressure on our opponent by getting this fast Platinum Empyrean and forcing them to find a removal spell. And then as they're trying to find removal for our Platinum Empyrean, we go into kind of our second plan, which is we get out a Gideon of the Trials, we emblem it, and then we just keep a Gideon on the battlefield. And both Gideon of the Trials and Gideon Ally of Zendikar are really strong threats when they're on the battlefield. Ally of Zendikar makes tokens, which can chump and kind of keep everything alive. They both turn into indestructible beaters that are pretty big for their converted mana cost, but like Platinum Empyrean, the real idea here is that these cards put that pressure on the opponent. So not only do they have to find a way to deal with an 8/8 Platinum Empyrean before they kill us, they have to do that, and they have to find a way to get rid of all of our Gideon Planeswalkers, because they can't win the game as long as we have a Gideon Planeswalker on the battlefield. So it's two very different card types, and the opponent has to find answers for each of those to be able to actually win the game. So while they're digging through their deck, trying to find answers to our Gideons, to our Platinum Empyrean, we're hopefully winning the game with our other Planeswalkers, and we can win it with Gideon as well. But Liliana the Veil keeps answers out of our opponent's hand by plussing and plussing. Eventually it's going to ultimate, get rid of a bunch of resources. Nahiri gives us some looting, some removal, but the main thing is it's our finisher because we ultimate it in only 2 pluses, search out an Emrakul, and just annihilate our opponent's board. If we get in one hit with an Emrakul, we likely just win. We got in some damage somewhere with a Gideon here or there, where that 15 in the air is likely just going to close out the game. And then Asylum Visitor might look weird, but it works really well with both Liliana and Nahiri, since they both have plus abilities that require us to discard a card, so we can discard it, madness it, maybe we get our opponent empty-handed and are able to start drawing some cards that way. The other kind of creature-y card in our deck is Lingering Souls, which can win the game on its own. Sometimes you just Lingering Souls, flash it back, Lingering Souls, flash it back, you get all these 1/1 flyers, beat the opponent down. It's also very good at just protecting our Planeswalkers. So if our opponent is trying to kill our Gideon to get rid of the emblem problem by beating it down with creatures, we can chump block for a long time with Lingering Souls while we're plussing the Hiri, getting ready to get the Emrakul and close out the game that way. The rest of the deck, we get a bunch of discard, gives us something to do on turn 1, gets the answers out of our opponent's hand, makes it even harder for them to get rid of our Platinum Empyreans or Gideons, and then a bunch of removal for stuff that slips through the cracks. Path gets rid of anything, Helix gains us a bit of life as well as killing something, and Call Against Command just does a bit of everything. And then we have some Faithless Lootings, which look kind of weird, but give us a way to kind of filter through our deck, get rid of some bad draws that might be in our hand. Also works well with Asylum Visitor as another madness discard outlet. In the mana base, Shambling Vent's kind of the only cool land. It turns into a creature, can block to protect our Gideons. Lifelink is sometimes relevant. The rest of the mana base, not going to go over every land, but fetches, a few fast lands, shock lands to fetch up, and then some basics. In the sideboard, we get some more removal, so Wrath of God and Anger for sweepers against aggressive decks. Dreadbore, kind of the Terminate, that's downside of sorcery speed, but can also get Planeswalker, so it's our Planeswalker removal spell. And then Byforce and Hide and Seek give us ways to disrupt artifacts and enchantments, and then just some all-purpose hate cards. Stony Silence hits on Tron, hits on Affinity. Rest in Peace for Snapcaster decks, some Death Shadow Tarmogoyf type decks, Dredge decks. Harsh Mentor, great against Lantern Control, things with a lot of activated abilities. And then Platinum Angels, kind of like a weird backup version of Platinum Empyrean, except this one literally says we can't lose the game and our opponent can't win the game. So if our opponent is trying to mill us out or win with a Laboratory Maniac, something that would get around Platinum Empyrean, we can go on the Platinum Angel plan, and that is Madcap Gideons for Modern. And that's been our instant deck tech for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.